A jewel of conservation sparkles in the heart of Europe. A wild island in the middle of a man-made landscape. But this is no ordinary nature reserve. Born from a human wasteland, it has become an essential habitat for the migrating birds of Africa, Asia, and Europe. There is a mysterious water world in northwest Germany. This is the European bird sanctuary Rieselfelder Münster. The vast wetland is home to countless endangered species and is now recognized internationally for its remarkable diversity of bird life. Well hidden in the thick reeds, 3 hungry Eurasian marsh harriers anxiously await their parents. Their nest, a fortress against predators. Eurasian marsh harriers rarely breed successfully in this region. But this pair has. The male's recent hunt has been successful as well. He expertly delivers his catch to his mate. They are an extraordinary team. At first, only the male hunts, while the female feeds the young. But soon, the 3 chicks will be so big and so hungry that both parents will need to go hunting. It's mild now, but when the air turns colder, the harriers will depart for southern Europe or Africa. "50 years ago, their species was nearly extinct. Now, this couple is thriving in a most unexpected place. From the air, this landscape looks like a chessboard, made from water and reeds. But this wild paradise did not arise naturally. It was made by humans. Its story begins in the nearby city of Muenster. By the 19th century, 60,000 people made this city home. As in many cities at the time, its wastewater flowed directly into adjacent rivers, spreading a foul stench and disease. To relieve the rivers, just over a century ago, the city began rerouting its sewage through a series of pipelines. The sandy soil of the nearby heathland worked like a filter. Suspended matter remained on the surface, while clean water seeped into the ground. This natural wastewater treatment plant, larger than 1,000 football fields, purified the water of a whole city. And along the way, something magical and unexpected happened. A new wetland grew out of the landscape, attracting waterfowl from all over the world. Rare waders found refuge here at a time when other wetlands across Europe were being lost to agriculture and urban development. biologists began to catalogue the reclaimed area's new bird life. At the time, the young scientists did not realize how important their efforts would become. This wood sandpiper has returned from its winter quarters south of the Sahara. Like many other water birds, he comes to Münster's Rieselfelder to fortify himself before continuing on to the breeding areas in Scandinavia or Russia. Common snipes and rare curlew sandpipers also make stopovers along their exhausting journeys between Africa, southern Europe, and Siberia. But the feats of this handsome specimen go unsurpassed. Ruffs are the ultra-marathoners of the avian world. Ornithologists have even discovered an individual from these ponds in eastern Siberia, over 7,000 kilometers away. Without these inland wetlands, many migratory birds would struggle to complete their migrations. The fat reserves they build up here fuel their long flights. The rest of the birds are particularly active in spring as well. Many species are now returning to breed. Wherever you look, courtship is in full swing. The extensive reed beds are now home to rare songbirds. For decades, the Bluethroat was verging on extinction in Central Europe. Now, it is making a comeback. A male's song marks the territory for him and his mate. In the spring, the reeds are still brown and barren. The strengthening sun will soon change that. A pair of white storks is back from their wintering grounds in the Mediterranean. With their typical clattering, the two have retaken possession of their nest. For the next few weeks, a farm on the edge of the nature reserve will be their home. No European bird builds nests as large as the white stork. Some can weigh up to 2 tons. White storks typically remain monogamous for many years. But they are willing to change partners. They are actually more loyal to their nests than their mates. The female will soon lay her eggs, which both will care for together for a month. The nature reserve slowly emerges from hibernation. Everywhere the warm sun kisses, nature awakens. like the white storks, Eurasian coots have stayed through the winter. An exciting time is now beginning for them as well. They fight fiercely for the best nesting areas and chase off any intruder. This Greylag goose is a few sizes too big. He'll stick around. The brawlers will battle until exhaustion sets in. Today, like most days, the fighting doesn't end until darkness falls. At night, the birds find shelter within these waters. Safety is paramount. Those who are not careful will be lost. A vixen has nabbed a goose. It's not just her life that depends on a successful hunt. Two high-spirited youngsters await her return near their den. They are just a few weeks old, but more and more they're itching to go out. The reserve is a fertile hunting ground for the vixen. The shy predator is doing her part to keep nature in balance. The family of foxes might not be welcomed by all conservationists. But in this bountiful, man-made wilderness, they'll hardly put a dent in the population of wild birds. The wet meadows around the ponds are not just home to foxes. Large herbivores also roam this nature reserve. Heck cattle thrive here because they are particularly tough and can survive the cold. Their calves are born outside, and the herd remains independent, except when they are fed in the wintertime. These are the relatives of long-extinct primeval cattle, and their constant grazing prevents the wet meadows from overgrowth. In this way, without knowing it, heck cattle ensure the survival of the Rieselfelder's many birds, mammals, and insects. As the springtime sun warms the shallow waters, a curious spectacle gets underway. It's an amphibian cotillion. Common water frogs, marsh frogs, and pool frogs gather in the ponds. The males have just one thing in mind: finding the right partner. This is not a time or place to be bashful. Nor is it a time to lose focus. Only male frogs have vocal sacs. This partner won't be laying eggs anytime soon. The dragonflies are also in a mating mood. There are almost 30 different species in this ecosystem. Their courtship is a bit less clumsy than the frogs. But they are taking a risk. The difference between happiness and certain death lurks below. Once again, a hapless frog misses its mark. It's early in the morning, and the male stork is searching for food. The female waits for his return. And she is not alone. The couple now has 4 chicks crowding their nest. They're hungry. They're always hungry. For years, bird enthusiasts tried to attract these proud birds, with nesting aids across the protected area. It was only at the beginning of this millennium that they accepted the invitation. Today, up to 5 pairs breed in Münster's Rieselfelder every year. Some of them even stay here year-round. In these abundant, wet meadows, they find the insects, amphibians, and rodents they need to raise their young. A look beyond the edge of the protected area reveals the importance of this reclaimed landscape. Little wildlife can survive on these fields and pastures. Intensive monoculture farming throughout Germany is causing the soils to atrophy. Fertilizers spread across the ground fill the landscape with nitrogen. Rainwater then flushes this nitrogen into the groundwater. This imbalance poses a threat to the ecosystem and to many of the resident wild animals. And it makes the watery wilderness of Münster's Rieselfelder all the more important as a protected island for countless species. Hidden from view, a female Eurasian reed warbler has artfully designed a nest for her family. She's laid 4 eggs that both parents incubate together. A family model that doesn't suit everyone. A female common cuckoo discovered the nursery long ago. Timing is everything. Her egg has to be in the nest early enough for the cuckoo to hatch ahead of the reed warblers. The reed warblers have no idea what comes next. She quickly examines the nest, but doesn't seem to notice anything. Because they are such doting parents, reed warblers are often chosen by cuckoos to raise their young. The trick worked again this time. The dense reed jungle holds many secrets. An extremely shy grass snake negotiates the impenetrable thicket. Here she hunts amphibians, small mammals, and birds. But it's all clear for the duck. The grass snake does not yet pose any danger. She has just hatched and is only as long as a pencil. As an adult, she may stretch up to 1.5 meters and live to the age of 20. She was the first to make it out of the egg. Some 30 siblings are still fighting their leathery shells. They cut open the shell with their egg tooth. For the last 8 weeks, they've been warmed by the heat from the decomposing reeds beneath them. From the moment they hatch, the little ones are fully developed and on their own. In this wet environment, the snakes find food in abundance. When they grow bigger, frogs will be their favorite delicacy. It looks like this one will need more time to practice. Frogs and grass snakes can survive here because untreated sewage no longer flows through these ponds. This is ensured by a huge facility built right next to the nature reserve. Muenster's modern wastewater treatment plant went into operation in 1975. And when it did, the old wastewater system was retired. The original plan called for the ponds to be drained, making way for a new industrial zone. But there was fierce opposition to the plan. Biologists had witnessed the transformation of the landscape and argued for a bird sanctuary. And with high-level support, the environmentalists were able to save this pocket of reed wilderness. Instead of disappearing under concrete, Muenster's Rieselfelder became an internationally recognized reserve for wading birds and waterfowl. Today, clean water flows through these ponds, creating a space where fish, like the three-spined stickleback, can now thrive. Once the water reaches a certain temperature, the male's belly turns red, and he begins to build a nest. He's trying to impress a female, but he is not the only one. A rival is targeting the nesting material. The two sticklebacks go head to head. Their competition will come down to who builds the better nest. Both males go all in. Now, the female will decide who the winner is. From her hiding place, she has watched the rivals at work. A few final repairs. She shows the male her belly, filled with spawn. She's closing in on a decision, but whom should she choose? She's made her choice. With a zigzag dance, the male leads her closer and closer to his nest. The male stimulates her to spawn, so he can fertilize her eggs. The brood now becomes the male's responsibility, while the female swims on her way. It will take 7 to 12 days for the offspring to hatch. An anxious time of watching and waiting for the male. Above the surface as well, the younger generation has taken the center stage. The Eurasian Coots, who had fought bitterly for their territory in the spring, are now raising 2 chicks. The youngsters gorge themselves on small freshwater shrimps. The little pond is their nursery, their kingdom, and their larder. Eurasian Coots can have up to 10 chicks, but often only a few survive. These curious little ones are easy prey for rats, birds, and predatory fish. They won't learn to fly and become independent until they are 8 weeks old. But soon after that, like their parents, they'll become fighters, grappling for the pond's best nesting areas. In the summer months, danger lurks in the trees. These are the caterpillars of the oak processionary moth. Their long hairs are barbed at their ends, delivering a sting that can cause allergic reactions in humans. These caterpillars multiply explosively, and when looking for food, can form processions of up to 10 meters long. Before they pupate, the caterpillars gather in a large nest. After a few weeks, they hatch as moths. Their irritating hairs are left behind and will remain attached to the tree bark for years to come. The oak processionary moth caterpillars are harmless to the white storks in the neighborhood. The young storks have begun training their wings for flight. All 4 have made it through the summer, but they will soon be too big for the nest. It's time to strike out on their own. The siblings are impressed, even though he only makes it to the next meadow. Before the air turns cold, the young storks will fly to southern Spain and northern Africa. They'll stay there until they reach sexual maturity at around 4 years of age. Maybe one day he will also breed among these fields. Or maybe he will choose another place. Until then, the young stork has a lot to learn. For example, knowing who are your friends and who are your enemies. This clean, reclaimed area has seen the return of many local species. And even those whose original home is somewhere far away. Coipoos, or nutrias, are natives of South America. They're typically found from Brazil to the top of Argentina. There they live in swamps that are very similar to these man-made wetlands. Nutrias were first brought to Europe to be bred on fur farms, but they soon found a niche in the wild. And now that temperatures are becoming increasingly mild due to climate change, more and more nutria are surviving Central Europe's winters. It's an exciting time for the reed warbler. Just 12 days after the eggs were laid, there is movement in the nest. A chick has hatched. But what is it doing? The young cuckoo shows its true face, under the eyes of the puzzled reed warbler parents. Instead of raising 4 of their own chicks, they are now raising 1 intruder. It has tricked the warblers into adopting it. Cuckoo chicks need more food than young reed warblers. Because of the cuckoo's persistent calling, the reed warblers think there are several chicks in the nest. They rush to deliver enough insects for their demanding guest. It's taxing work for the reed warblers, but they devotedly raise the chick as if it were their own. Even after the cuckoo has clearly outgrown its nest, the warblers continue to feed it. Once again, the cuckoo mother has been spared the heavy lifting of raising her young. This swampy expanse contains more than 90 different pondscapes, some of which are drained in summer. Spread between them, extensive wet meadows shelter countless insects. In the thick grass jungle, a wasp spider has spun a web. She hopes to catch a grasshopper, but she has caught the attention of a male wasp spider instead. He measures just 1/6 of the female's size. He tries to entice the female with his rhythmic drumming. Fortunately for him, she shows no interest. If they were to mate, it could mean his death. Wasp spider females often cannibalize their partners while mating. The species-rich grassland of the reserve does not flourish on its own. This paradise, built from human hands, is still a paradise in human hands. Each year, once the offspring of the ground-breeding birds have left their nests, the Rieselfelder meadows are mowed. Strips of grass are left uncut, allowing insects and small animals to escape the mower. The sounds of the tractors signal to the black-headed gulls and others that it's feeding time. The stork is hunting for startled insects in the freshly cut grass. The ground teems with grasshoppers and butterflies. A ready meal for a hungry stork. With his long beak, he searches the mown stalks. But he doesn't remain alone for long. The noise of the tractor attracts his fellow birds from all over the protected area. Conflict is inevitable. And while fortune favors a few, that good luck is bound to draw some attention. It is better to find a spot with some peace and quiet. The annual mowing cultivates the nutrient-poor meadows. Without it, the diversity of the habitats in this protected area could be lost. Peak summer has arrived. For weeks, the young Eurasian marsh harriers have been nestled in this 1 square meter. And they are finally ready to leave the nest. But what do they do with these big wings? It looks like they'll need to stick with the parents a little longer. They still deliver the food regularly, but only rarely feed the young directly. With such quick drop-offs, sometimes the delivery misses its mark. Thanks to their caring parents, the 3 are well fed. They are resilient, and their tight plumage protects them from the elements. After weeks of dry air and heat, the heavy rains are a blessing. The cool shower has awakened the Marsh Harrier chick's thirst for adventure. Freshly bathed, this one feels ready to leave the nest. This one dares to as well. Only the youngest is not quite comfortable with leaving yet. The mother wants to know where her missing chicks have gone. She doesn't need to wait long for an answer. Leaving the entire meal to the youngest is not worth the adventure for the two runaways. They still enjoy around-the-clock care, and their excursions are just a game. For now. Before the cold snap begins, they'll need to be able to fly and search for food like their parents. Their first big trip to the south is imminent. Large clouds of common starlings flow through the Rieselfelder into the late summer. They gather to find a place to sleep together for the night. The swarm offers them protection. Soon they will leave for the Mediterranean to spend the winter. With autumn arriving in the reserve, change fills the air. It is time for the migratory birds to set off. The hustle and bustle can be felt across the Rieselfelder. Soon, the landscape will calm again, only to reawaken with the warm springtime sun. Then the birds will return, guided by their inner compasses, to this young water wilderness just outside the city. The history of the Rieselfelder Münster shows us how nature can adapt. If we leave it alone, it can reconquer the landscape, creating an accidental natural paradise treasured by the migrating birds of Europe.